Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Long time no see. When's the last time I did an on-camera thing? I can't even remember. Anyway, check it out. We're at a Goodwill and a different one I have never been to before. So let's check it out, see what they got. So, gearing up, as I always do in this situation. Got a mask, and I want to show you my cool new toy I got. So, check this thing out. This is awesome. This is like a door pull, so you can hook doors and pull back, and then you'll see it's got a little rubber thing because it's conductive, so you can actually, if you have, when you go to a place you pay with Apple Pay and you still have to touch the touch screen and you're like, great, I'm contaminating myself. This allows you to do that without touching anything. So I picked this up today. I feel like it's a good investment, and for picking rubber gloves. So it's just the tools of the trade these days, unfortunately, but it's worth it to get out there. I mean, that's my assessment. I can't say for you if it's worth it or not. Depends on the area, depends on certain situations that, different cities are facing. Each of us have to make a judgment call. This looks so medical. You're ready for your exam. No. Okay, so come with me. Let's check out what they got. Going into a new thrift store or antique store for that matter is kind of like opening a present. I literally enjoy it. I'm a little worried here, by the way. Yes, I am doing a voiceover after the fact. There was a lot of very copyrighted music playing while I was there today, but I was a little worried there to see those records in the glass case, and they didn't seem to be anything special. So I was hoping that I wasn't going to have to get any help to get to the records. I looked and looked, found books and books and more books, but no records. And I was like, really? I came all this way and there's no records to be found. And then right as I was literally leaving the area, I came across the records. And there isn't a ton, but there's some. So here we go. And I always love it when you guys comment on these crate digging videos, on these thrifting videos, to tell me, what did I miss that was a real treasure? What should I go back for? And sometimes I do go back, and, I'm glad I did a lot of times. And sometimes I, get stuff kind of thinking down the road, well, am I going to want this eventually? It really depends on the mood I'm in. Because sometimes, say I'm not in the mood for Mitch Miller and I don't get Mitch Miller. But I think to myself, well, eventually I want Mitch Miller and I'll be sad that I didn't get it. You know what I mean? But sometimes there's some stuff that I will not pass up. Like Glenn Miller, I do not pass up Glenn Miller, even if I already have a copy. I do have this Ray Anthony record already, by the way. Didn't see any Glenn Miller. I did find some big band music, and I try to grab as much big band as possible. But I have to be, I have to think about the fact that I need a place to put all this stuff, and I don't have infinite storage for records available. So it needs to be important. I'm not just going to grab stuff that's like, that might be interesting. I don't want to discover music on vinyl as much as I want to find stuff that, means something to me. This is a really cool label, by the way. Really interesting. But you never know what you're going to find. I always looking for the treasure, always looking for something that is something I recognize, but not too often am I discovering music as much as I'm discovering certain records. Does that make any sense? A lot of Mitch Miller is starting to turn up here, so I'm not really feeling like I'm in a Mitch Miller mood today. But like I said, I may regret that down the road. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, I may, find a record that is new to me, that I want to check out, but typically not a new artist. I'm not going to say, oh, that's an interesting artist, I've never heard of it. Unless it's a rare record. If it's something that I've never, that's something that's like a colored vinyl, something that is, totally unique, something that's a foreign language, or is a compilation, maybe I might go for something like that. But I noticed today when I was going through these records that, it depends on the mood you're in. Do you guys ever feel that? Like it depends on the mood you're in, and you never know what you're going to find. Here's a Tommy Dorsey record, although it looks kind of 70s, not really my style of big band. And I know that's probably just a re-release or whatever, but still. They did have some interesting things here. I do feel like it was a very typical, this is really interesting, heavy organ. Never heard of heavy organ. Not to be confused with light organ. This is heavy organ. But I felt like this was some of the most typical thrift store picking I have ever encountered in my life. Okay, this is interesting. 10-inch record. Let's take a look at that. Foy Willing and the Riders of the Purple Sage. Okay, that's probably something we're gonna take that. So setting that aside, the record looks like it's in okay condition. I actually am terrible about checking records in the store. Plus, as you can tell, I got my gloves on, my mask on. I'm trying not to touch anything with my elbows or anything. I'm trying to stay clean. I'm trying to get out of there as soon as possible. Interesting set. I always like coming across these sets, but inevitably they're, organ music collections and things that I probably don't want. And again, space is an issue to some degree when it comes to vinyl. I mean, for the records we treasure, we'll always find room, right? But at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm really getting stuff that's meaningful. So, I do pass up things that if it had infinite... Jackie Gleason's cool, by the way. A 50s big band sound. Surprised. Some people are surprised to know that he was a musician as well, band leader. I do have some of his stuff on CD. Sousa. You always find Sousa marches. Anyway. But, looking for the treasures, looking for the things you can't do without. And, I'm not seeing anything like that here. Unfortunately, I'm seeing things that are kind of like second tier, like, I wouldn't mind having that, or, oh, that's kind of cool. Or maybe I want to fill out my Mitch Miller collection. Burl Ives. I've been seeing more and more Burl Ives lately. Unfortunately, it's not Christmas Burl Ives. That is something I would snag. I still haven't bought my first Christmas record of the year. When will it be? Will it be today? Will I find something? Wayne King. He has more organ music. And a quick look at the electronics section, which was very underwhelming unless you wanted to see 47 different DVD players. But anyway, let's see what we got. So let's see what we got. I spent $15. You ever notice when you're crate digging, sometimes you're like looking through stuff, and at the first time through, you're like, I just don't know if I want that today. I'm not in the mood for this today. And then you're like, well, I think I'm going to regret it if I don't get it. So while I'm here, let's get it. So that's kind of how I felt about a couple of things. So, I also got some Clorox wipes so I can wipe these down as well as we go. So I got some interesting things and some filler things, and I just wanted to show them to you. See what you think. Let me know down in the comments below. My favorite thing about haul videos is when you guys are like, oh, you should have got this, or that was a good pick, or whatever. Let me know what I missed, or what you think I should go back for. I did pick up this Tommy Dorsey Sentimental album. The art doesn't really appeal to me. It's very like 70s looking, not big bandish to me, but I have sort of a no record left behind policy when it comes to big band vinyl. MCA Coral, interesting. Also, it's interesting that they've made these markings. FT? Very interesting. FT. Very interesting. Number 178. So part of somebody's collection at one point. You're supposed to obviously check your records before you leave the store. Well, that's a cool label. I've never seen that one. That's neat. I didn't because I kind of wanted to get in and out of there as soon as possible. Okay, next up is, I paid money for Mitch Miller. You guys know I like my Mitch Miller. I think this is good music. I think it's great to have in the background when you're working. And they had a bunch of Mitch Miller, as you saw there, so I did go for it. And I love how they include lyrics and pictures and all that stuff. So, yeah. And I think the albums are just cool looking. And they're like always on like this high gloss stock. They're just super cool. Again, I didn't check the record, so hopefully they're in there and that they're in good condition. Oh, cool. So it's got the song sheet in there as well. I was wondering about that. And the record. Columbia, of course. Because Mitch Miller was A&R guy for Columbia. I did pick this up. At first I was like, I don't know. I like Hooked on Swing, but I'm not as huge on the Hooked on Classic stuff. Yet I love classical music, so I'm like, why not, right? RCA, Victor label, and a very tight paper sleeve. All of this needs to be cleaned, and there's a back cover on that. It's really cool. Yeah, Hooked on Swing, those are good. Needs to be categorized and all that stuff. And the reason why I'm keeping the record out is I actually don't keep my records in the sleeves anymore, or I keep them in a separate sleeve and then I package it together. I think I've showed you guys that a couple of times. So, all right, next up, Mitch Miller, Christmas. Now, this is my first Christmas record of 2021. I love Christmas Mitch Miller. This is 6i. You guys told me to look for these 6i Columbias. Just forward thinking. I'm not really in a huge Christmas mood right now, but I will be, and I think I would have regretted not grabbing that. Another Mitch Miller. I don't think I have this one. I have a couple. It's possible I already have this. If I do, it's okay. I'll gift it somewhere along the way to somebody else. One more Mitch Miller. I grabbed a bunch of Mitch Miller. And this is like, in a lot of ways, this is the very typical, thrift store haul. But I like Mitch Miller, so what are you going to do? It's a win-win. It's cheap, it's affordable, it's available, and I like it. So I picked some of those up. And finally, and maybe most interestingly, I got this 10-inch record here. Really, really cool. So it looks like we got some Western music here. Check this out. Again, the Royale label. Long playing record. Foy Willing and the Riders of the Purple Sage. Wright Record Corporation, Meriden, Connecticut? Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I love the very eye-catching artwork and all that. Pretty neat. So we'll do a show on this down the road. I think this is a really neat, interesting record. So I got to go through and sanitize it now, but that's not fun YouTube watching, so I'll do that off camera. I just want to thank you guys for watching, as always. And that's going to do it for now, guys. Happy record hunting. We will see you tomorrow.